Hola, internet friends. Welcome to 4 in the morning. I thought I would do a quick video before I left on a trip about the oldest thing I own. I have a lot of old things. I'm an antique dealer for a living. But because I live in Utah, and Utah wasn't established until about 1847, and that was only 160 years ago, which is like a blink of nothing in the line of time. The long, luscious line of time. The things here are not that old. So I had to leave Utah in order to get something that was really old. Sure, I could have ordered something on eBay, but you want to believe that you're finding, discovering, pulling things out of the dark depths of history. And so, last year, I went to Italy, specifically Siena. I went to Italy and I decided that I wanted to get something very old because Italy is, flippin' flappin' old. It's crazy old. If you don't know what Italy is, then go back to school. Actually, no, it's summer. Who wants to be in school right now? Italy, it's a very old country, very interesting country, rich with history, absolutely fascinating. And I wanted to bring back something that was pretty old from there. Now, we visited a lot of shops, and a lot of the antiques were frankly right out of my price range. We're talking like medieval suits from the 1400s for something like 85,000 euros. If you don't know what a euro is, that's the crazy weird money that they use over in Europe. Here we use dollars. That's right, little green pieces of paper. I did a lot of shopping. We went to a lot of places. I even visited a really cool junk shop. And that was awesome. It was like this hoardy lady, and you could hardly walk in it, and it was piled to the very ceiling with just, thrift store crap. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The oldest thing I own is actually from the Middle Ages. So there's this practice that I think is totally reprehensible. It's just widespread throughout the antique world. And what it is, people take pages from books, old books from hundreds of years ago, and they slice them up and then they sell them page by page. Now, if you think about it, these people, they could buy a 500-year-old book for $1,000 or $10,000 and then sell each page for $1,000. Why would somebody want to buy a page? Because they want to hang them on their wall. Much better than this crappy IKEA Starburst mirror thing that I've got going on here. As much as I hate this practice, it was pretty much the only super old stuff I could afford. So we went in Siena in this really neat bookshop of, mutilated books, I guess. I want to call it like the horrible bookshop of mutilated books. It was a really neat shop. The guy was super grumpy, like everything in Italy. It wasn't ever open. Things are never open in Europe. I don't know why. Like it'll say, open from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock, but then they're never there. And I saw this really cool thing in the window. Now, I am, as well as being an antique dealer and writer, I'm a musician. I play guitar and I sing in a band. And I love music. I can play piano. I can play the jaw harp like Snoopy. Actually, I can't. I've been trying to impress people with that fact for years. It's never worked. Did it work on you? Probably not. But yeah, I love music. I love old things. Now, you can't find anything really, really old without it being religious. So I found an amazing religious musical artifact. Now, before I show it to you, so much tension. Just so much tension. Before I show it to you, just understand that I was in Venice, and Venice is this amazing city that instead of roads, it has like these little canals. I was just absolutely taken with Venice. But we happened to be in the oldest church in Venice, and inside the case was this beautiful book, and I was so thrilled with it that I took a dumb tourist picture in front of it. The entire church had been filled with old musical instruments that no longer existed and stuff like that. And in this was a book of Gregorian chants. So, rewind, or fast forward in old VCR terms, fast forward to my visit to Siena, and I found this amazing page sitting in a window. This, my dear friends, hopefully you can see it, is what is called a Gregorian chant page. This page is from the Middle Ages, which means it's something like 600 years old. I don't know. That's like, what, 4 of me? I mean, my lifespan's, what, 80 years? So, I hope the math was right on that one. Anyway, I was taken with it. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. And so it's double-sided. And let me just explain to you a little bit about this item. This piece is made of vellum, which is calf skin. In other words, itty-bitty baby cow skin. Isn't that sad? They take it, they skin the cow, they stretch it out, and they have to do all these crazy things to it to make it paper-like. Vellum was one of the early forms of paper. It was before paper was popular. Paper had been invented by the Chinese, but it was not so popular around that time. So the Catholic Church, they had these songs that they liked to sing for their religious rites, and they were having a problem though because they had to rely too much on memorization. They invented this great way to annotate the music, and now this kind of looks like sheet music, but it's different. If you look at it, there's only 4 lines when there should be 5. Our like modern notation has 5. And they have this little square, I'm trying to, hopefully it focuses, these little square note thingies, and these are called neumes or neumes. They're not regular notes, but they're the early version of notes. A lot of these were decorated with these beautiful letterings, and in fact, the value of these pages goes up the neater these are. So this was quite expensive because of the beautiful lettering on it. However, I got home and I realized, oh, you can buy these on eBay. Oh, how not special. That's fine, you know, I wanted to bring something home that was really, really old and cool. So it's very flexible, you know, because it's made of that vellum stuff. An interesting, disgusting factoid about vellum. They used urine, to help remove hair on vellum, because, you know, cows, they have hair. In order to use the vellum to print stuff on, they had to scrape off the hair, but first they had to put it in lye. And now lye is this like super nasty chemical that breaks down things. But sometimes they didn't have lye, so they would use urine. And people from distant villages and the village, you know, wherever the church was where they were making this stuff, because a lot of the monks made these. Yeah, this is definitely made by a monk. By the way, the guy, this is tragic, the guy told me where this book was found, like what city. I don't remember the name of it. It was probably something like Castiglione, you know, or something Italian and cool. But anyway, people, as part of their like church sacrifices or church tithes or whatever, would fill jugs up with their own urine and deliver it to the monastery or the church or whatever, so that the monks could use it to make vellum. So that's pretty disgusting. But, you know, back then they didn't have, you know, like Walmart. They couldn't just go down and buy their urine like everybody else does. They had to like make it and manufacture it, whatever. This is so big because the churches were very dim. They did not have electricity, obviously. They did have windows and clerestories, things to let light in. They had candles and all of that. But often there would be, you know, dozens and dozens of young boys and young men. They needed to see this in order to chant. And so it had to be super big. And a lot of the Gregorian chant pages that you'll find will be quite huge. There's 2 sides to this, obviously, because it's a book. But I gotta share something. I'm afraid you might not be able to see it too well on the camera. I didn't discover this till I came home. So I took a class called like the history of graphic design or something for my degree, which is in graphic design. We were learning all about vellum and all about old manuscripts, and I asked my teacher if I could bring this vellum piece in, and as I was preparing it, shoving it in my bag, I noticed this amazing thing about it. So let us just go back 600 years, shall we? Here's the go back sound. 600 years ago, let's say a guy named Giovanni. Giovanni is turning the page for this vellum sheet, and he rips it in the corner. And rather than face hellfire and brimstone, he said, oh no, I've got to repair it. So, because they didn't, like I said, have convenience stores with double-sided Scotch tape, he had to go get another piece of parchment and glue it across the spine in order to get this back into the book. And so as you can see, there is a piece of repair. Trying to get it to, there you go. You can see the repair right there that's been done. Now, here's what's awesome. It's very difficult to see, but I'm going to try to, there we go. You can kind of see it. This is actually an old letter that he used to repair it. An old and ancient letter. What does the letter say? If you find that I have died overnight, delete my browser history. It's so weird. No, obviously you can't read it. I can see a few letters though. I see it, a Z and an E and an A. Who knows how old this repair was. This repair could have been done in the 1800s. It could have been done 1600s, whatever. Who knows, but it is so cool. It's beautifully handwritten too. I'm looking at it and there's a lot of little flourishes and stuff. So I was really excited to see that. I get jazzed by evidence that there was people before I was born, and there still continues to be people. Cool, right? I think it's cool too. By the way, you can go online and you can figure out how to read this ancient Gregorian chant. It's actually translatable. So I have done that for you. And I am going to just chant a few lines. Feel free to auto-tune this. Feel free to turn it up in your speakers and just kind of close your eyes and imagine dark cathedrals with people in robes. Okay, so here goes. That note right there is A. So you got that, okay? A, O, A, O, A, A, O, A, O, A, A, O, A, O, A, A, O, A, O. We were born on the devices. It's cool, right? As a little bit of a bonus, I'm going to show you the second oldest thing I own. Now this one is debatable because there's actually a few things that I own that I'm not sure how old they are. I just know they're so freaking old. But I got this. This one has been proven to be as old as it is. It's because it's from a book that was actually dated. But I wanted to get a little like memory piece from my trip because it was, you know, so cool, and I only visited northern Italy. So I bought a map, and I heart vintage maps. They're actually not that hard to find. There was a lot of atlases made in this world, and so old maps can very easily be procured on eBay. But this one is pretty cool because it's worth, you know, a couple $100 because it's from a book from 1715, and I have it upside down. Really doing good here. But this is an old map of northern Italy, and the old maps used to be hand colored. That's right, they would make the book and then somebody would hand color it in. By the way, it is important to note that this vellum page was hand done. Printing had been invented, had been you know, kind of more widely used by the time that this was created. It was still kind of that in-between time where a lot of things were not printed. There wasn't a ton of printing presses, so this was hand done by a monk. And I like to think of that monk sometimes laboring over his candle, laboring in the light of his dark candle as he put his quill on the vellum, and thought very interesting thoughts. So back to this little map. Yeah, this is from a book from the 1700s, so that's, you know, obviously pretty old. So those are the two oldest things that I have in my possession, and I'm going to frame both of them. But before I did, I wanted to show this little cool video. Like I said, living in Utah, you can't find super old things, so it was one of my goals to find an ancient item for you and for me to look at. Please subscribe to my channel, like, and Give me, some feedback if you thought this was interesting. If you want to see my source references, like some sort of jerky history teacher that I have, either in college or high school, you know who you are, then do it, do it. I'm impenetrable. So I will see you next week. I'm about to go on a long trip to the Red Rocks of Utah to take pictures for a class. And I'm really glad that I was able to get in this video for you. So thanks everyone for watching, and bye-bye.